In this video, we will explore the profound wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor who dedicated his life to practicing and promoting Stoicism. Known for his book Meditations, Marcus Aurelius was not just a powerful leader but also an example of virtue and self-control in a world full of temptations and challenges. We will dive into his reflections on how to face adversity, deal with difficult people, understand the true meaning of happiness, and accept mortality. If you want to learn how to live according to your nature and achieve true inner greatness, this video is for you. Marcus Aurelius is often remembered as one of the most influential figures of Stoicism, being one of its founders. His book Meditations is widely recognized, and many consider it a perfect example of what it means to be a truly virtuous person. If there is anyone in history who deserves the title of great man, that person is Marcus Aurelius. Although this video is not a self-help lesson, the philosophy that Marcus Aurelius developed and recorded in his writings can serve as a powerful antidote to many of the challenges we face in modern life. And that is exactly what I want to show you. Marcus Aurelius was a Roman emperor who ruled from 161 to 180 AD. He was the last of the so-called five good emperors, and reigned during the period known as the Pax Romana, an era of relative peace and stability in the Roman Empire. With his death, this period of peace came to an end. During his reign, Marcus Aurelius was the most powerful man in the world. For the Romans, there was practically no world outside the boundaries of their empire, which made him, in a way, the ruler of the entire known world. In this role, he had unlimited access to any desire he could imagine. Traditionally, Roman emperors were known for their hedonism, a life full of pleasures, wealth, lust, and excesses of all kinds. Any whim or desire was within their reach. Marcus Aurelius, however, even with all the temptations and the freedom to do whatever he wanted, chose a path of virtue and righteousness. He could have chosen any kind of indulgence, as he was not limited by money, laws, traditions, or even ethics. But, unlike so many before him, Aurelius chose to be a man of principles. And this choice was not made just once, but repeatedly, throughout the 19 years of his reign. He maintained his integrity every single day. Being a good person on its own does not make you a great leader, but imagine the challenge of facing unlimited temptations and still choosing the path of virtue, not to gain praise, fame, or admiration, but simply out of a desire to do what is right. That is something truly impressive. Marcus Aurelius' Meditations is not exactly a book, it's more like a personal diary. This diary, which we now know as Meditations, had no formal structure and was written only for himself. It consists of about 150 pages divided into 12 vague parts. He never intended for his writings to be read by others, let alone published. Therefore, Meditations deeply reveals the character of its author. These were Marcus Aurelius' sincere reflections, written in moments of introspection. And as spontaneous as they may seem, these reflections became one of the most powerful and impactful books ever written. While I strongly recommend that you read Meditations on your own, there are copies in practically every library and bookstore. In this video, I want to explore some of the most important concepts he shared that are worth analyzing. Marcus Aurelius believed that life should be lived in harmony with nature. And when he spoke of nature, he was not just referring to plants and animals but also to the natural order of the universe. For example, a tree grows not because it seeks praise or approval but because that is its essence. It grows to become as robust and beautiful as it can, simply because that is what it was made to do. This is the natural course of things. Similarly, a caterpillar transforms into a butterfly, a fragile, featherless chick becomes an eagle. They do not do this because they want to, but because they were created for it. Thus, Marcus Aurelius believed that the duty of a human being was to fulfill their potential. For him, it was not about accumulating wealth or seeking recognition, we will discuss this further later on, but about becoming the kindest and most virtuous human being possible. To Marcus, this was the pinnacle of what a human could achieve. Failing to fulfill this potential, on the other hand, was the darkest fate. After all, we cannot control what the world presents to us, but we can control how we react to these situations. And no matter what happens, a great person faces life storms and remains steadfast in their purpose to live virtuously. This, according to Marcus Aurelius, is our duty as human beings. Although Marcus Aurelius was an emperor and might have enjoyed spending all day writing, this was not his main role, and he also did not have much time for it. He was constantly involved in the challenges of governing and dealing with many people. Marcus had a realistic view of people. He believed that evil, wickedness, or unpleasantness are simply part of our universe. Expecting the world not to present us with such people would be as absurd as asking a vine to grow without thorns. He knew this was inevitable. Despite this, Marcus advocated for kindness. He believed that no one truly wished to do evil. When someone did wrong, it was simply out of ignorance. Of course, you can try to teach these people, but that is not always possible. Since we cannot control whether the universe sends us immoral, lazy, or ill-natured people, and since we often cannot help them, the only option left is to learn how to deal with them. For this, Marcus suggests looking within yourself. He wrote to himself, "Hey, Marcus, you also have flaws. Who are you to judge? Perhaps your flaws are different from those of these people, but they still exist. In another situation, you could be the ignorant one." Moreover, he reminded himself that we often do not fully understand what is happening. The thief who steals to feed his family, for example, might not necessarily be wrong, you may simply not understand. And in life, there will be many moments when you do not fully understand the situation. So, do not judge. In the end, Marcus Aurelius believed that we are all born for each other. He repeatedly reminded himself that this is the natural order of things. Just as a tree bears fruit to feed animals, and animals die to feed worms, we humans are made to help each other. This is, once again, our duty. The true failure in life would be to abdicate this responsibility. So, Marcus, you'd better fulfill it, and fulfill it well. We all face adversity, and Marcus Aurelius was no exception. But, just as encountering difficult people, facing challenges is part of the human condition. Once again, we can only control what we can control. So, don't pray for bad things not to happen, that's a vain effort, he told himself. These things will happen, and there's nothing you can do about it. But what you can control, Marcus, is how you react to them. You can prepare yourself to face adversity when it comes, and it will come, you know it will. When that day arrives, don't feel sad because something bad happened. Instead, feel grateful that you have the tools and spirit to get through it unscathed. Marcus Aurelius told himself to endure challenges with bravery, facing adversity head-on and emerging stronger on the other side. When you do this, you realize that what seemed to be something bad wasn't bad at all, but rather an opportunity to persevere, overcome, and keep moving forward. He teaches us that when these events arise, we should not complain, but rather act and endure. If something unbearable comes your way, Marcus reminds, do not dishonor yourself. All men die, but not all die complaining. Marcus Aurelius possessed immense wealth, but he did not see this as a problem. Unlike other philosophers throughout history, he did not demonize material goods, but was cautious in his relationship with them. He could have had anything he wanted, money, houses, art, wine, but chose not to be consumed by these desires. He told himself, Marcus, do not dream of physical things you desire, for they are insignificant and do not fulfill your potential. Only you can do that. Instead, he reflected on what he already had and valued these things, reminding himself how he would desire them if he did not have them. But at the same time, he warned himself not to value them so much as to be devastated if they disappeared. In the end, they don't matter. These things are pleasant, but they are not essential. They do not make you a more virtuous or kind person. Human potential is not about accumulating things, it is about something much greater, living in accordance with nature. Marcus Aurelius spent much time thinking about death, so much so that it would be impossible to talk about him without mentioning his views on the subject. And his view on death was simple: it will come, whether we like it or not. He repeated to himself that this was beyond his control, so do not waste time fearing death or worrying about mortality. Just as nature designed us to be good, to help each other, and to reach our maximum potential, it also designed us to die. Death is a duty. So, while you are here, live. Be kind, be good, fulfill your role in nature, and then die, because death is also part of that role. Marcus Aurelius, along with a few other thinkers, was one of the precursors of the philosophy known as Stoicism. The Stoics believed in many things. Their school of thought encompasses logic, ethics, physics, and much more, but there is a central distinction in Stoic philosophy: the distinction between pleasure and happiness. Money, fame, and even success are external stimuli that provide fleeting moments of pleasure, but this is not happiness. True happiness, according to the Stoics, was something deeper, a state of being that came entirely from within. It didn't come from being an emperor, like Marcus Aurelius, nor from anything worldly. The Stoics claimed that to achieve happiness, you must live a life of virtue, continually improve yourself, and become all that you can be. The only failure, the only true pain, the only real sorrow, the only valid fear is not reaching your potential. Because, and only because, being great is your duty. Being great is in your very nature. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next videos. See you next time.